The Marinette community is looking to put the crisis in the classroom behind them. Just 2 days after a hostage standoff, students are returning to class today. Angela Kelly has been at Marinette High all morning long. She joins us now with more. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Rachel. Class is set to start here in half an hour, and students are starting to arrive. But with me live this morning is Principal Corry Lambie of Marinette High School. Corry, thank you for joining us this morning. Deep breath, first day back since Monday's incident. What's the mood? How you feeling?
I think we're ready. We invited our staff in last night, and they arrived about 6:30. We allowed them to walk around the building to get a comfort level again. It was very stressful for them. The students that were in this classroom were the only students that were allowed in the building yesterday. We allowed them to come back at 4 o'clock if they wanted to pick up some of their personal belongings. Their families were invited to go through some grief counseling yesterday, so we're obviously very aware of their needs. We also have 700 students that are going to be without one of their classmates today, so we understand that it's going to be a difficult day for our staff and students, but I feel we're as well prepared as we could be.
What have you done to prepare? What is the plan for today?
We have prepared a statement for our first hour classes where our teachers will be very specific and direct with the facts of the investigation. Obviously, students have access to Facebook and their text messages, so there was some untrue information out there, and we just want to set the record straight as to what transpired, not get into too many of the details, but just stick to the facts. We will have counselors and therapists on duty throughout the district for not only our students but our staff. We will have teachers that will be working with students outside of the classroom to escort them to the areas to go through some therapy sessions in small group. Then at the end of the day, we'll have a debriefing session with our staff to see how things went and see how we can do a better job for our kids tomorrow. We're going to have our student services team meet at different checkpoint meetings throughout the day, probably 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sending out emails, surveying staff, taking very close attendance to make sure our kids are here and that they're safe. So we're looking forward to a good day back at Marinette High School. It'll be difficult to return to normalcy on day one, but we're doing our best to get there as quickly as we can.
Will the classroom where Monday's incident took place, will that be used today or in the near future?
That classroom will not be used today, and more than likely not in the near future. But we don't know what the plan is for that classroom at this time.
Are you worried that it may pose as a distraction today and in the days to come?
It certainly may. We're aware of that. That's part of the reason we allowed our staff to walk around the area last night, and the students, I'm sure, will be a little bit nervous to walk in that area today, but we're going to have staff in that area to supervise and see what's going on. And look, we had a traumatic situation take place in our building, and we must deal with it, learn from it, and now we have to move on as a community, and this community has done nothing but support us through this very difficult time.
What about students, maybe some parents who say it's too soon, we're scared? What was the decision process in having the first day back be today?
Again, we wanted to return to some degree of normalcy. We have a responsibility to keep our students safe and to educate them, and again, our community is very supportive of that. We know that students are going to be somewhat fearful coming back, but again, we have a responsibility as adults in this building and this community to keep them safe, and that's our number one job today. We're looking forward to bringing them back. I've requested that our staff be out and about on their prep time and walking around and just approaching students in a very appropriate manner and just say, how are you doing today? So keep those positive relationships going that we've already established with our students, but more so today is focusing on getting our students back and making sure that we let them know that they're safe here.
Well, Mrs. Valerie Bird, the teacher, the heroic teacher in all this situation, will she be back at school today?
I don't want to get too much into what Mrs. Bird will be doing today. She's had a very traumatic experience here in the last 24, 48 hours. I don't expect her to be here teaching today. I would hope at some point I would be able to see her. Her and I have been communicating very closely since this experience, so I would like to see her come in today and talk to us a little bit. But as of right now, I don't expect her to be teaching in the classroom, but I'm sure students will be looking forward to seeing her face around the building.
If you don't mind me asking, it's been reported that you reportedly confronted yourself by the alleged gunman, this student. how are you doing personally? You've had a lot of pressure on you the last couple days.
I appreciate your concern. I'm doing fine. I've got an outstanding assistant principal, and more importantly, we've got a great staff that is student-centered. So I didn't think I did anything that nobody else would have done. There was a cause for concern in that classroom. I went into the classroom, and something transpired with a young man, and that's all that needs to be said about that. Right now, the Hengel family is in my thoughts and prayers, and also we've got 700 students here now that we've got to move on, and it's going to take some time. We understand that, but I think our staff is prepared for what lies ahead, and we're going to do what's best for our kids. Before
we let you go, can you just kind of confirm for us what police presence is doing on the campus this morning?
They're keeping you away. No, they're here. We always have a police liaison officer here very early in the morning, so she's usually here parked out and about, either in the parking lot in the front or in the back. We've worked very closely with the police department and law enforcement since this has transpired. So they're again just here to handle any questions. I saw Chief Skoric talking to you earlier. Any parents that may come up, they'll be interested to talk to them as well. So that there's nothing unusual for them to be here. However, we usually don't have 2 squad cars here, but they're just here again to help with our safety.
Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Absolutely.
And best of luck to you and the rest of the school, the district, on your first day back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
For now, we'll toss it back to you guys again. Class is about to get underway here within the next half an hour or so. We'll continue to be live out here and join you back here in a little bit. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Angela. Angela Kelly live in Marinette this morning.